Sup? Hello. I wanted to talk specifically today about like the gaming industry as a whole in 2023 because the EU just passed Microsoft's like $69 billion like acquisition for Activision Blizzard, and this kind of showing Microsoft's plan in the gaming industry. They're doing something completely different in comparison towards like what Nintendo's business plan is, and also Sony's business plan, or specifically, I guess you could say PlayStation's plan, in regards to how they want to actually market their games, the types of games that they also want to make as well. And what we have seen with kind of like the arguments that Sony makes and Microsoft makes, that they don't really care about Nintendo in terms of like the business aspect. They're only like kind of facing each other and arguing against each other, and Nintendo's never really brought up. And this is like, I remember when I was watching one of the YouTubers I watch, who also talks about the gaming industry, more specifically like Xbox, is that whenever, I guess, like Microsoft or Sony brings up Nintendo in an argument in regards to the Activision Blizzard deal, they typically like, I guess, the people in like the FTC and the CMS, whenever they argue against them, just say, "Why are you bringing up Nintendo? Because Nintendo is completely different." That's what he said a while back. And I truly don't know if this deal is going to pass or not. I truly don't know. The streamers that I watch that talk about the game industry, they don't know either. They say like most likely it's not going to pass, but none of us know. None of us know what's going to happen. None of us know if there's going to be a lot of concessions that are going to happen. There's literally been multiple concessions that have happened right now by doing 10-year deals with other cloud service providers. Um, an example of this is NVIDIA cloud 10-year cloud service deal that they did. They provided concessions in the sense of giving a contract to PlayStation saying, "Here's 10 years. You're going to have like all the Call of Duty games, all the next Call of Duty games, sorry, for the next 10 years." They've done that as a concession, but Sony won't accept it because why would they want to accept it? They're not going to accept it unless they absolutely have to. They're going to keep on saying, "No, we're not going to accept it because we don't want this deal to pass." Why would we accept this? We don't want the deal to pass. If the deal passes, that's going to be disastrous for us. We make billions of dollars by having Call of Duty on our platform because we get a 30% cut each time somebody buys this game on our platform. They don't want the deal to pass, so they're going to fight tooth and nail in order to make sure that doesn't pass. We've seen this happen since the very start that the deal was at the very start, since Microsoft announced that they're planning on merging with Activision Blizzard, or I guess acquiring because they're bigger than Activision Blizzard. I'm pretty sure it's acquiring instead of merging. I don't know. It's one or the other, but that's what we have seen. But all of this just showcases how bad Microsoft is doing in the gaming industry right now. They have been disastrous, especially their marketing team. Their marketing team is they have one of the worst marketing teams, I think, in all of gaming, in the entire gaming industry. They need to like either the executives need to have a hard look specifically at the gaming division in terms of marketing. I don't know what they're doing, but like they need to like research and look at, because they have hundreds of thousands of people who work at Microsoft. Literally, I think they have over 100,000 people who work at Microsoft. Some of them should bound to have some sort of marketing like knowledge, and all of them probably have so much data and analytics in regards to other industries as well. And they should really look at how Nintendo markets their games and how Sony markets their games. I don't know how both of those teams and both of those companies can be like can market their games so perfectly and kind of showcase what their games are like and what types of games they make. It's because I think it's because they work so closely with the developers and they work so closely with every single team that works on games over there that they know the perfect way to market their games to their audiences. While Microsoft just doesn't know how to do that. They're so out of touch, not just with the consumers, but also with their own teams, it seems like. Who in their right mind would think it's okay to release Redfall in that state? While Nintendo, on the other hand, while they're making Metroid Prime 4, they strip canceled the game because it did not meet their own expectations. And they don't want to release that game in such an awful or I guess with the wrong gameplay that they wanted to release as well. That they actually did that. That they released Redfall in such an awful state. The game just did not look fun to play. I could tell that the game was going to be bad as soon as I just saw some gameplay of it. Even the showcase, what was it? I think it was the 2022 showcase when they showcased Redfall as his premiere game. They showed it. Like Phil Spencer said, and we have one more game, one more made by Arcane Austin, the people who made Prey, and then they showed that. They literally showed that. Don't get me wrong, though. Well, no, actually, no, 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 no. I was gonna say, don't get me wrong. They did have a really good, I guess, like small showcase with like the Xbox Direct, Xbox Game Direct, or whatever it was called, where they showed like just straight up gameplay of multiple games. I was gonna say that was perfect, and I was probably a separate team. They probably do have a showcase team, like who mainly just work on having having Xbox events and stuff like that. But their main marketing team, they truly don't know what they're doing. They really don't know what they're doing. And if I was ever in their shoes, I would dramatically change. If I was in Phil Spencer's shoes, no matter what, I would have so much pushback and showing off Redfall. But I know it's going to quote unquote Bethesda is autonomous. That's the reason why they allowed themselves to get acquired by Xbox because they're going to be completely autonomous. Someday there does need to be some sort of type of merge between two companies in regards to the marketing aspect, and all of them have to come to an agreement saying like we can't show this to everybody if it's going to be that bad. We can't show this because why would you want to show a game like Redfall? A game that A does not look entertaining to play, B does not even look good. I'm not saying all games need to look good. No, no, not all games need to look good. I play a lot of indie games that look like complete ass, but have such fun gameplay that like it counteracts each other. Because the number one thing whenever you're playing a game is the gameplay needs to feel good. It can have some like a very cinematic feel like God of War, but at least with God of War, even though it's a hack and slash game, it has really fun gameplay because you're playing as Kratos, and who doesn't want to play as Kratos? You know what I mean? But but to me, it's like how could this actually happen? I was watching the interview with Phil Spencer in a kind of funny XCast, and him just saying we're not in a good state. Just him saying that he's the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, and he's saying that that's a problem. I don't know if you need to have a heavy look at like the executives over at Xbox, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, like all those people, especially Aaron Greenberg. If you just need to like look at them and like have a heavy heart to heart conversation with all of them and say, if you don't fix this marketing, we're gonna have to do some restructuring, meaning you're gonna get laid off. Because how could you allow any of this to happen? I'm not gonna put all the blame on Phil Spencer because some people put all the blame on Phil Spencer, but he's one guy. in a company where a division that has well over 10,000 people working there. He can't fly over to every single studio that he has and play the game and review the game and do everything like that because he's one guy. And his job isn't to oversee the development of the games. His job is to oversee the business aspect of the entire not entire company, but the entire division of Microsoft Gaming, which now includes Bethesda as well. So it's an extra 1,000 people, well over 1,000, probably like another extra 5,000 employees. Like he just can't do that. He's one guy. It's like asking Jim Ryan to fly over to every single studio and doing that as well. You can't do that. He just can't. That's the reason why he has people like Babudi who oversee Xbox Game Studios, and then he has whoever the hell's running Bethesda as well. Because some people think that like Bethesda Game Studios is the one he's making fucking Doom. No, they're not. Bethesda Game Studios is not Bethesda like the publisher. Okay. Bethesda has more than one studio. Bethesda has like 8 studios, okay? And some of them have over like 300, 400, 500 employees. Like okay, I mean, it is what it is. I don't believe that after Redfall that this is the end of Xbox. I don't believe that. Xbox has a lot of talented developers over there. They just don't have the time to let themselves fully like flourish. And they also don't have the right amount of pushback from their own company to say when a game does not look good, to stop making that fucking game. Okay? Like some studios can have full autonomy because they have the right leadership, but even then, you should still have someone going over there and saying, "Okay, I do not like the way this game is turning out." Until waiting until years after development and having a and having to basically do soft reboot or hard reboot sometimes. Case in point, Obsidian. I love Obsidian, but they did a hard reboot years after development, which I mean is fine because this happened over at Nintendo as well. At least they said this game does not look right. Let's reboot it. Nintendo did this as well. Case in point, Metroid Prime 4. And there are probably so many other types of games as well that have never come out. Same as Sony as well, probably, to be honest. I kind of hope that the Microsoft deal does not pass, mainly because I feel like if it passes, then that will allow Microsoft to kind of or Microsoft Gaming to kind of feel like, okay, we're gonna make money regardless. So who really cares about giving studios the time to make these massive AAA titles? And also, Phil Spencer saying that good games will not bring people over is simply not true. Good games will bring people over. How do you think Halo Combat Evolved brought people over to the Xbox ecosystem back then? Because so many people only thought that they're going to play Nintendo products and Sony products. But then he made Halo Combat Evolved, which is arguably one of the most influential games of all time because it changed the landscape of FPS games. It was the first console FPS game. It was literally the first one. It changed the landscape of gaming as a whole. We know what you should do. I should inspire you, or make you like hyped up to want to make a game like that again. To make a game that will change the landscape of gaming. To make a game that will change the way Xbox is viewed around the world. A game of the likes of Halo Combat Evolved, like Breath of the Wild, God of War, Last of Us. Games that people will remember a decade in the future. Like, or new IP or not, make a game that's like that. Make a game that will resonate with so many people. That will change the way people view Xbox because people will not view Xbox as the product that has no good IP. Well, no. I'm sorry, not no good IP because they have an amazing IP actually. Elder Scrolls IP, Fallout IP, Halo, the Halo IP, Banjo Kazooie, Perfect Dark, Fable. They have a lot of really good IP. No, wait. Lost Odyssey, a JRPG that like has never been that people love. That you haven't made. You've only made one. You've only made one of those. Elder Scrolls Online. A bunch of people used to play that. Forza. Like you have a lot of really good IP, but you need to have that like Gears of War. They have a lot of good IP, but even though they have a lot of good IP, none of those IP right now in 2023 has had a new product that has like changed the way people think of Xbox. Forza Horizon is loved by a lot of people, but it's not that blockbuster IP that people think of as the likes of Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild or like Zelda in general. Or like God of War. Xbox does not have a single one of those in 2023. As anybody over Xbox or Microsoft or Xbox has looked at Nintendo and Sony and say, we need one of those types of games. We need one of those types of games that when people think of us, they don't think of us as a shitty product. They think of us as like the, like imagine if like the Fable reboot is on the like same league as that. People immediately assume, no, they're the people who literally made fucking Fable. They'll think like that. They'll think of whatever. They'll think of look, look at Perfect Dark. They made that. Avowed. You see that game Avowed that has like a 96 on Metacritic that like thousands of people adore now? Like people play and you say, I'm not gonna lie, Xbox, you did a good job with this game. This is a good game. That's what you need. That's what you need. I know it takes time. I'm not saying that you can't do it. You could totally you had the talent behind you. You have people like Playground Games, Bethesda Game Studios. People shit on Bethesda Game Studios, but they still play their games. It's like I don't know what's going on right now, but like people over at, like my Xbox like need a wake up call. Like, did they look at Nintendo and said, "We need a game like that"? Because you know what's going to happen now that that game came out. I was like a 97 on Metacritic. Thousands of people bought the game, and you don't think good games sells? Like good games like sell consoles and shit like that, or sell marketing, or sell like like marketing soft power that people are always going to think about that. Why do you think people have a Nintendo Switch or any Nintendo product of that matter? Do you think it's because they have shitty products? No. Why do you think the Wii U sold like shit? Because well, no, it actually had good games. So that was kind of no. That's a bad thing I just started there. No. Nintendo Wii U actually had a good product. Well, it's actually had good games. But the Wii U itself is shit. But let's compare the PS3 to the 360. Later on down the line, Sony had really good exclusives. What case in point is The Last of Us. What do you think happened when The Last of Us released and those types of games? People bought the PS3. We noticed that because when you got towards like the later part of the 360 and PS3 generation, we noticed that the PS3 is starting to catch up. And you know the reason why is because they release good games. Why do you think that the Xbox One lost so badly compared to the PS4? It's because the PS4 had way better games. Obviously, in 2023 and the PS5 generation and the Xbox Series X generation, the Xbox is never going to catch up to the PS5. It's too late now, what Phil Spencer said with like he lost the worst generation, I 150% agree with that. I truly do agree with what he said. I resonate with what he said. The Xbox Series X is never going to catch up. I think everybody agrees with that. No matter if Xbox releases 10 out of 10s consistently for years, it's never going to catch up. A PS5 now, more than ever, just has so much brand power that whenever you think of gaming, you think of the PS5. You think of these big AAA blockbuster $100 million budget games that are really solid, that even like their worst games are average games. They're not dog shit, they're average games. Whenever you think of like the worst, like exclusive or whatever. That's not true when it comes to Xbox. Good games might not sell the console hundreds of millions of consoles, but that doesn't really matter. What good games will do is save your brand. So when people think of the Xbox brand, they think of, hey, they actually have pretty good games. Now, even though they're not in like they're not in the market to sell consoles, they're in the market to sell Game Pass. That's what we learned for quite a while, and I'm fine with that. I like Game Pass. I'm not really afraid. I don't mind waiting, or I don't mind spending $70 on a 10 out of 10 game. I will do it. I'm not like saying, oh, like I'm not against spending money on games, but I don't mind Game Pass as well. And I don't give a shit if Game Pass increases in price, because in the future I'm gonna have a fucking job. Like I don't mind spending $60 on a product. I don't think Game Pass is going to have Game Pass fodder either. Like people are going to spend money on games regardless if Game Pass is a really good product. So I mean, I don't really give a shit. But I just really wanted to talk about the Activision Blizzard deal. I don't know if it's going to pass or not. I don't know if everybody's going to come to an agreement to let Microsoft acquire Activision Blizzard. I don't want that agreement to actually happen, as a matter of fact. I don't want that deal to happen. Not because of monopoly reasons. I just don't have. There's nothing at Activision Blizzard. There's nothing at Activision Blizzard that I like. I don't like Call of Duty. I don't like any Blizzard product, as a matter of fact. In 2023, there's not a single Blizzard product that I actually like. I don't like Overwatch. I don't like World of Warcraft. The only Blizzard product that I've ever liked is StarCraft. But guess what? There's a bit of StarCraft. There's a bit of new StarCraft since like the late 2000s. So guess what? They're not gonna make a new StarCraft. Guess what? I don't give a fuck about them. I don't. So I pray that the deal gets blocked. I pray that it gets blocked. I don't want it to pass, not because of monopoly reasons. I don't believe you can have a monopoly on the gaming industry, because developers will just leave and start a new company. All those like I don't know, like hundreds of Blizzard employees that left either made a new company or joined a new one. Or joined another company, I'm sorry. If anybody truly believes that you can have a monopoly over the gaming industry, it's fucking high. There are hundreds of thousands of indie developers that make games. There's people like Epic Games. There's people like EA. Now, can you have monopoly over the AAA industry? Yes and no, because you have people like Sony, Nintendo, who are never, and I mean never, going to sell. Because why would Nintendo sell in 2023? Tell me, why would they sell? They're at an all-time high in terms of revenue. They're at an all-time high in terms of brand value. They're at an all-time high in terms of releasing good games. Why would they sell? Why would Sony sell as well? Because they're in the same exact situation as Nintendo. They're an all-time high in terms of revenue, all-time high in terms of brand value, all-time high in terms of people actually buying their console. Why would they sell? EA is actually, I'm pretty sure, in the same league as Nintendo and Sony as well, because they just released. Let's see, they just released a new Star Wars game that people absolutely adore. They just sold, let's see, Dead Space as well, a Dead Space remake that also sold extremely well. Well, they sell. Madden, I'm pretty sure is doing is doing really good right now as well. FIFA is doing really good as well. Well, they sell. There's zero reason for them to sell right now. Capcom, another perfect example, just risen from the ashes, from being almost on the verge of bankruptcy and planning on merging with Microsoft years ago, is now an all-time high in terms of revenue as well. After releasing Monster Hunter, was not Monster Hunter Rise, but the previous Monster Hunter saved them from bankruptcy, as well as with Resident Evil Village as well. They're as also an all-time high in revenue and also in brand value. Tons of people love Capcom as well. So this thing of saying if Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard that there's going to be a monopoly is just, I think, a fallacy. I don't think there's any way you could actually say that Microsoft's got a monopoly, because how can that monopoly when developers always move across so many different companies? When all these developers leave, what do you think happens to the product that they sell? It's not going to be as good. You can have all this IP, but what if nobody's making that IP? Same thing happened to Fable. Fable, one of their best legacy IPs, was on the verge of never being fucking made ever again, because the last Fable that was ever made was Fable Legends, and that ship just got turned to dust, got canceled. So there hasn't been a Fable that has ever been released since 2013, a decade ago. So it's this reasoning that Microsoft would have a monopoly if they acquire Activision Blizzard is straight up incorrect. Because even in terms of revenue, as soon as Activision Blizzard gets acquired, they're still going to lose in terms of revenue and profit in comparison to PlayStation. Now, obviously, when you think of Microsoft as a whole, hell, they're a multi-trillion-dollar company. But I'm talking about specifically their gaming division. So I don't really know what's coming into this reason of them having a monopoly. I think it's just straight up incorrect. Now, if they do acquire Activision Blizzard, do I think they're magically going to make a bunch of good games? Hell no. No. Just I think they need to have a massive restructuring over Activision Blizzard, where Blizzard's completely its own entity and not under Activision. And Activision's its own thing as well. I think they should do that. There's gonna be massive corporate restructuring and also a massive wave of just layoffs and shit like that. That's what I think. I don't know if this showcase is happening in June 11th needs to be a 10 out of 10, and I think Phil Spencer truly knows this now. The last showcase could have been complete ass, and I still would have been okay, because already planned in my head 2023 was the year that the year the showcase needs to be a 10 out of 10, because everything should be slowly but surely coming into fruition with Avowed. Fable should be coming out in 2025, I think. Some people thought Fable should come in now. No, because they made a new studio, which is the Fable studio, from the ground up, with I think 15 or something other developers who always wanted to make an RPG, or a bunch of senior developers who always wanted to make an RPG, so they wanted to make another studio. Xbox acquired them, so on and so forth. It took years to actually hire the right people, and that's the reason why I think that it should come out in 2025. But I think that this is a year that the showcase needs to be a 10 on 10. If it isn't, I'm not talking about Starfield. I'm talking about the Xbox Showcase, not the Bethesda one. Or the Starfield review, like the Starfield, not gameplay review, but official showcase for Starfield and shit like that. That's my thoughts. I honestly have no idea if Activision Blizzard's going to get acquired or not, if they're going to officially merge with Microsoft. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I really don't. I don't think Microsoft knows. I don't think Nintendo knows. I don't think any gaming company knows. Nobody knows in the gaming industry. Obviously, Microsoft is going to say they're confident in a deal because they're planning on fucking acquiring the company. Obviously, they're going to say they're confident in a deal. If they don't say they're confident in a deal, then like there's some major issues. Man. My thoughts on the matter is I think they could utilize the $69 billion in other companies to acquire. Case in point is people made Hitman, IO Interactive. I think they should have acquired them in all honesty. I think they're way more talented developers. I think they should have acquired a bunch of support studios as well. My opinion, that's what they should have done. Instead of acquiring Activision Blizzard, which is an overly bloated company that honestly has lost so much talent over the years. They could have used that money to reinvest into their own subsidiary companies as well, but no, they didn't even do that. But that's my opinion. I think everybody else has different opinions. Some people just straight up hate Xbox, which I mean, I understand. They don't make any good games, but still. I'll talk to you boys later. I'm out. I just want to talk about that.